Hope you don't break that camera.
It finally is September 1st. The last time Calvin and I did a TV show, I said, it's the last day of August, and it was the 30th. And then I had to remember that little rhyme when he's saying, no, there's one more day of August.
Yep.
Here we are, September 1st, and I don't know where summer went or if we ever had any summer this year. But I'll tell you what, we're up here in Rouses Point on the Sterling Road. It's not very often I get to talk to somebody who's got a road named after him, Ed. How are you, buddy?
Very good.
We're delighted to be up here with you today. This guy is, you said 85 years young?
I was 85, March 3rd.
Were you? March 3rd this year.
Yep.
Well, we're going to find out what's happened to you during that whole 85 years.
Oh, boy.
You've lived on this property for 60.
60 years. Yep. Been here 60 years.
When did you come here?
About 1942.
Well, a lot of things happening in our country starting in 1942.
Yes. My first job was on a farm. Then I worked for Dock and Cole in Plattsburgh, and they started out me in Chazy. And then I moved to Rouses Point and worked in coal and ice. Delivered ice every day. There was no refrigerators in town.
That's amazing for our young people who are watching now. That's why I still call my refrigerator an ice box, right?
Yeah, probably.
And you delivered ice
I delivered ice.
with those tongs and.
Yep.
Oh boy!
Cut it with a pick.
Did you really?
Little pick, keep picking it and then it would break right off, nice and clean. And there was 4 bars in Rouses Point, and every morning I'd go and fix these bars up with ice to cool the beer. And I had stores. In one store, old Harry King's store, I had to put a 200-pound block of ice up in the.
Come on!
Yes.
You're just a little guy.
Seemed very easy at the time.
Lots of things seemed very easy at the time, didn't they?
Today I couldn't even think about it.
200-pound block of
Yeah,
ice.
and he wanted it full, one piece.
Oh man! I wish we had some movies of that.
Yep.
You must have been a pretty tough young guy.
I was very strong. Yep.
You know, my brother and I, and I always have to add my own stories here a little bit if you don't mind.
Sure.
Well, my brother celebrated his 71st birthday over the past weekend, visiting me from Pennsylvania. And he was saying, Gordie, you got to write a column sometime about the strong men you've known since you were kids. Because when you worked on a farm and when you worked hauling ice and coal as my dad did and Jim's dad, you were pretty tough.
Yes.
And we used to tell stories about on the farm, the old Rickard farm over there near Messina where we lived. They'd have this big anvil out in the barn.
Yep.
And for those people who know what an anvil is, there's a horn on one end that's
Right.
tapered, right?
Right.
And those guys, just to show how strong they was. Now, mind you, these guys got strong hands from milking cows by hand day after day after day. And they picked that anvil up, and with one hand on the horn, they could pick that anvil off the ground. I have no idea what it weighed. I bet you they weighed 100 pounds or more.
Between 90 and 100. Yep.
Have you ever seen that done?
No.
Well, they used to have these strongman contests out in the barn to see which hired hand was the strongest.
Yep.
And I can remember as a little kid saying, if I could ever pick up an anvil with one hand, I'd have it made.
Well, I remember one time when I worked for my wife's father, they killed a big pig, weighed about between 600 and 700 pounds.
That's a big pig.
And we finally got it in a wheelbarrow after it was killed. And his son was quite a bit bigger than me. And he tried to wheel it away, but he couldn't. But
He couldn't.
but I did. I wheeled it away.
Well, I don't know if I can top that story. I mean, that's That's not a lot of bull. That's a lot of pig, right?
Yep, I did it.
600 pounds in a wheelbarrow. That's a pretty big pig.
Yep.
Great stories to tell. I want to tell people before we go much farther how you and I got together here today. You called me on the telephone.
Well, I read an article that Gordie wrote in a paper about Perry's Mill School.
Oh, yeah.
And it reminded me of going to Perry's Mill School. That's where I started. And a young girl by name of Glass across the border, she went to that school, and she brought us, me and my brother, to the school to start. And from Perry's Mills, I went to Angelville School. From Angelville School, I went to Shazy, the big school.
The big school, the original Shazy Central, that became Shazy Central Rural School, built by Miner.
Right. It's a sin that they tore it down. Really.
It was quite a building, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
You and I talked about gray gables across the street, and the teachers going underground in the tunnels.
Right. Yep. It was really way ahead of its time. Well, from there I went to, I think I went to the stone schoolhouse here.
Wow.
In the little stone schoolhouse on the end of Leggett Road.
Yeah, the building's still there, isn't it?
No, it's gone.
Oh, it's gone.
It's gone. And from there, a friend of my father's asked if I'd go and work for him, help him on a farm in Vermont. So I went to North Hero, and then they transferred us to South Alberg. And we used to ride, a lady had a green Marmon car.
My goodness, Marmons. I haven't seen a Marmon in 50 years.
We used to ride 14 in that car to school. Wouldn't be allowed today.
Like a school bus, just pile them right in there, huh?
One top the other. Yeah.
Oh, my.
I stayed there 2 years, and I came home on a Saturday at Shazy. They used to call it Monkey Street. Now it's Washington Avenue. And Tom Hawksby asked my father if he knew somebody could go to help him on a farm. And so I said yeah. So I went with Tom Hawksby to Moore's. I stayed there 2 years. Then I got sick of that and came home. And I went and got milk at my wife's father's farm. And he asked me if I'd go work for him, so I did. I really never stayed home since I was 9 years old.
Now today that would be such an amazing thing for people, huh?
Yeah.
To have a little boy take off and go and do other things at age 9.
Everybody that I went and stayed with treated me good, very good.
You learned the value of hard work very young, didn't you?
Yes, but everybody was really good to me. Actually, I never missed home, really.
I think it's a different world today in that respect, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think that could happen today.
I know kids that live at home when they're 24, 25, 26. And in those days, when you were 16, 17 years old, you were out of there. You were earning money.
Not much.
But a little bit.
About 4 of them years board and room.
That was it.
Yep.
I can remember when I started work on the farm.
Board and room.
You got board and room, but then and I ate a lot, so I earned it. But they earned it too.
Yeah.
But then I started making $10 or $15 a week, and then in the summertime that went up to $20 because you had to work in the hayfield. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Listen, we're going to talk a lot more. I think you're going to find this one interesting guy. We haven't even begun to get into the many talents he has. And I talked to Peg Barkham, his good friend who used to live here, who lives down in Russell Barnard Apartments down in Plattsburgh. She lived right across the road.
Right across the road.
Now one of your sisters lives in the same building with her, and one of your other sisters lives right next door in the other high-rise building in Plattsburgh.
Right. Yep, right.
So I know stuff about you. I don't know if you want me to say it all, but we're going to have some fun today. This is a man of many talents and many experiences, and young people like me and Calvin and the other folks watching can learn a great deal about what life is supposed to be like by people speaking with guys like Ed Sterling. So stay with us. We're going to have some fun today. You know, it's not very often that we get a chance to talk to somebody who lived during one of the most interesting ages in American history, and we call it Prohibition.
Prohibition.
But Calvin said, make sure you ask him about Perry's Mills and the Glass Road, and the border back there was a little different than the border is today.
Certainly was.
So tell me what some memories you might have about those years of Prohibition.
Well, I can remember when I was real young, probably 6, a cutter came across the border in the winter, and a trooper met him and arrested him and took a couple of bags of beer out of the cutter and took it.
Burlap, would they be burlap bags?
Burlap bags. Yep. I can remember that just like it was today.
You told me that on the telephone, and I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, and here you're going to remember when you were 6 years old?
Oh, yes.
You would just happen to be standing there, or what? You and a bunch of other kids?
I know, we were looking out the window, or I guess, and I remember it just like it was today. Yep.
A cutter, and some of our people might not even know but it's a horse-drawn sleigh.
Horse-drawn sleigh, yep.
And they had bags of beer and who knew what else. And somebody rounded them up.
Yep.
But in those days, the people who were trying to smuggle the beer had some pretty souped-up automobiles.
Yes, well, that was later.
Later on.
Later on. I saw some of that, too.
Tell me about it. What do you remember?
Well, I remember I worked on a farm, and a couple of the sons were running booze, and the father found out about it, and he really raised Cain. and I saw somebody smashing bottles of beer.
Oh, you did, huh?
Oh yes.
What a waste.
Yep. Well, this was in Morris. People a lot of times looked down on beer, I guess, at that time.
It was a dry town.
Well, it was a dry town, yeah,
Yeah.
That's true, like other towns that I've known in history.
Yep.
So you got some childhood memories of the Prohibition? And,
Oh my, yes.
after they were coming across the border in cutters, they did have those hot Packards and and Cadillacs and big cars.
Big cars. Loaded them right up. And sometimes they didn't make it.
Sometimes they'd get stuck in the woods or stuck in the... We've had stories about how farmers would hide them in the barn
Yes.
until the agents and the cops would leave, and then they'd leave them with a case of booze or a case of beer.
I've seen a delivery of 5 tons of sugar in a barnyard, in a hay mill.
5 tons of
5
sugar?
tons of sugar.
And we know what that was all about, too, don't we? Where was that, you think?
Oh, I don't want to say.
You mean some of those people are still alive besides you?
Yes.
Oh,
Not many.
What great memories, though, huh?
Yep.
When you get to be 85 years young, you live through some pretty interesting times.
Yep.
Good times and bad times.
Bad times,
I mean, you
good
mentioned moving here in 1942.
Yep.
One of the most volatile times in our nation's history. So you lived through the war years right here on this property.
World War II, yep. And I went to Albany twice, but I was classified 4F because I had a bad year. And they froze me on that coal job. I had to stay on the coal job during the war.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
When you say they froze you, they made you stay right there.
Yeah, right. Yep. I couldn't change jobs.
Well, that's quite an experience itself. And, you know, I remember my father telling stories of delivering coal and ice,
Yes.
and how he'd have to carry those big blocks of ice up many stairs in Rochester to deliver them to people on the 5th and 6th and 8th floor.
And it's cold. 3 flights of floor. 100-pound bags on your back. Up
Think
and down,
about
up
that.
and down.
He swears that he had a ridge in his shoulder from carrying that ice.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe. Do you have any of those ice tongs?
No.
I still have
Should
two.
have, but
I saved 2 pairs of them. If I've known we were going to talk about it, I would have brought one down so people could see what it looked like.
Yeah.
But those were days when you had to do a lot of physical labor, unless you were rich, and we weren't very rich, were
oh
we?
my God. 1875 a week when I first came in Rouses Point.
Did you? 1875.
A
right?
week. A week.
Isn't that amazing? Well, you did a lot of things. You never actually lived too far away from
No.
this North Country, right
No.
here in northern Clinton County your whole life.
Shazy Moors and Rouses Point.
And Calvin said you'd never mentioned the name of your wife's family,
Gagno.
Gagnos.
Yep. Yep.
And so you married her in what year?
About 1942.
And that's when you moved onto this property.
Well, we moved in the village first, and then we moved here. I saw this place. I liked it. It didn't look quite like it does now, but I said to my wife, I'm going to buy that place. She said no, because I won't move there. Well, I decided, yes, I'm going to buy it, and I did, and I started to move. And the last load, you come in, no, crying.
And here we are, 62 years later.
Now you couldn't drive her away from here.
Isn't that amazing? Well, just to let people know where we're located who may not be familiar with the Champlain and Rouses Point area, I came up off, I turned up past Honeymore's Corners and came up 9B
Yep.
and turned onto the Schweinier Road.
Yes.
And I'm sure if you gave me a $100 bill, I still couldn't spell Schweinier.
Choiniere.
I knew you better be able to spell it. Well,
I had a little trouble at first.
But that's where I turned anyway, and I knew that if I went past Pegg's Road, which is named after you,
Yes.
the Sterling Road, that I'd find your farm property right here on the corner.
Yep.
And that road wasn't always called the Sterling Road.
No. I don't know what it was called, really.
It was just Kay said, not Kay, but Peg said there were just ruts up through there. It wasn't a real road. It was a dirt road.
Right.
And then when the beloved 911 came along, and I don't mean 911, I mean 911, when they had to rename roads and so that they know where you live specifically, they wanted to call it something else.
Yeah.
And she and a few other people went to the postmaster and say, no, you're going to name it after Ed because he's been there for a long time. So people went to bat for you back then.
Yes, yeah.
And you didn't mind getting your name on a road, did you?
No. Everybody's been very good to me. Yep.
So you've been here for a long, long time. You've had some very interesting life experiences.
Had 9 kids.
That's another thing we should get into. Big families.
Had 4 boys in a row. And then we went about 3 years, we had 5 girls in a row.
Think about it. So you had 9 kids.
Yep.
You and my good late friend John Marcotte out there in Peasleyville. But he had 9 daughters.
Oh my gosh. The boys were easier to handle than the girls.
It's something that we talk about all the time. Kay and I raised a huge family, and people say, which were easier, the boys or the girls? And I'll let you say, you said it.
Well, the boys were, of course, when they started driving cars and drinking beer, I would never get to sleep.
Not that we would know about that.
Until they all got home.
And then sometimes after they got home, there'd still be a knock on the front door. Where's so-and-so?
Yeah.
I don't know. Asleep. Why? I don't think so. Yeah, we've been through that.
It was tough. But now my kids are all very good to me.
Do most of them live around here, Ed?
All but one. Cheryl lives in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Do you get down there to see her?
No, I've been, not lately. I've been 3 times down there. But I'm all done traveling.
Let them come to you now, right?
Yep, I'm all done traveling.
So 9 kids.
Yep.
How many grandchildren?
22 grandchildren.
Oh, no, 2 more than us.
And 27 great-grandkids.
Now, wait, see, I tell people we have 15 great-grandchildren. They think that's pretty good. And you're 27?
27.
I could go home right now. No, that's wonderful. Isn't a big family great?
I got some that are getting into 18 years old, great-grandkids, and I might see some of them get married.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
I might.
Maybe you get a great or 2 before you decide to leave us. You never know.
You never know.
But big families are great. There aren't very many people that have big families these days. It's hard enough to raise 1 or 2 kids these days without 9.
On my 85th birthday, we had our celebration at VFW and the Twin Bridges on Route 11 because there was not room here.
Isn't that's the best part of it. There wasn't even room here for the whole crew.
No room.
I remember one Thanksgiving when Kay's sister and her decided to combine our 2 families for Thanksgiving, and the only place big enough was the KFC hall.
I'll be darned.
I don't know how many turkeys they cooked. I ate 1, and I don't know what the rest of them ate that day. But, yeah, big families are wonderful.
Yeah.
I want to know if we can talk about how exciting your 80th birthday was 5 years ago. I got that story, you know. Calvin doesn't know this story.
Well, one of my kids hired a belly dancer. I didn't know about it, but
Of course you didn't know about it.
they told me to sit down, and first thing I know, I hear some music, and this belly dancer is dancing in front of me.
And Peg came over with her videotape recorder.
Right.
I wish we had a copy of it to include in this interview. Peg said it was the most fun she ever had in her life. And poor Ed she said Ed's a little bit shy anyway, and he didn't know what to quite make of that.
I said something like, quit it.
I love it. Was that right here?
Yep.
Right here in the house.
You're right.
So your family treats you well every birthday and every other time.
Oh, yes.
That's great.
Yep.
I want to talk about a couple of things. We've mentioned I would love to do a history of the milk business
Oh, my
in the
God.
North Country sometime, and Calvin and I have talked about Rosebud and Bayview and Plattsburgh Dairy and all those dairy businesses.
Yep.
We've never quite been able to organize that and get it started, but you delivered milk.
I delivered milk for Tom Robinson for 18 years, house to house. And that went on for a long time. 4 o'clock in the morning till 4 in the afternoon.
Isn't that amazing?
2 tons of stuff on a truck every morning. And every house, some 1 quart, 2 quarts, 6 quarts, whatever.
We're talking about glass milk bottles
Glass
here.
milk bottles. Sometime in the winter they wouldn't take them in quick enough, and the cream would rise right up above push the cork right off.
We have talked about that so many times, and I was not a very nice little boy sometimes. And I would get up early, and I'd go out, and there'd be that much cream on the top.
Right.
And I'd take my jackknife and just peel it off, and that would be like a creamsicle for me.
Yes.
Take the little cardboard top off, right?
Yep.
Somebody showed us one of those cardboard tops with a little tab, remember, that fit
Right.
down inside the milk bottle.
Yep.
There was a little ridge inside, and the cardboard would fit down on it. And that's before milk was homogenized,
Yes.
but it was pasteurized, right?
Oh, yes.
And when you get it inside before you drink it, you'd shake it up
Right.
to mix up the cream and the milk.
Right.
But the cream would be on the top, and that's what would come out of the top of the bottle if you didn't get it in time.
Yep.
Now, did you have only quart bottles back then?
Oh no, had half pint bottles.
Pint bottles.
Oh,
How
yeah.
about half gallons? Did you have anything
No.
bigger than quarts?
No, not
I
at that
remember. I remember the 2 quart.
time. That was in cardboard.
Yeah, but I mean, there were pretty big glass bottles that came later.
Well,
Either half gallon or gallon bottles came later.
I never had.
Never
that.
had those.
Nope.
It was enough to handle the quarts, right?
Yeah.
But in those days, just to let people know, this is an interesting part of history. You didn't knock on the door and say, "What do you want today?"
No.
You either knew or they'd leave you a note.
Yep. Leave me a note, or yes, standing order, mostly.
Mostly.
Yep.
And sometimes there'd be an insulated box,
Right.
metal box on
Right.
the porch.
Yep. But it wasn't too great.
Not in the wintertime.
It still freeze, yes.
How did you make out on the truck? Did it freeze on the truck sometimes or
Well,
not?
we carried a heater.
Oh, you did?
Oh yes.
Oh, see, those are things I didn't even know. You carry a heater.
Oh yes.
Now, you never delivered milk by horse and wagon,
No,
right?
no.
Because I remember the milkman when I was a little boy in Maplewood, New Jersey, where my Aunt Ray lived. The guy had a horse and wagon, 1 horse.
Yep.
And the horse knew the route.
Oh yes.
And the amazing part was the guy would jump off and put the milk on the porch, and the horse would already be going toward the next house, and he'd stop.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
Yep. I never had that.
So you delivered milk for 2 different people, though, right? Didn't you? Didn't you deliver
No.
milk for somebody else, or just for
Just for Tom
just
Robinson.
for Tom Robinson?
I used to work for Bert Musson on a farm over there, help him do chores beside my other job, night and morning. But I didn't deliver his milk. And I went to work for Tom Robinson, and I quit Bert Musson.
Now, were those the days before milking machines?
No, they had milking machines. They had milking
But I
machines.
bet you've milked by hand, haven't you?
Oh, I've milked by hand before milking machines. You bet. I worked on a farm till I was about, probably 22. And then I went to work in the coal business.
So you milked a lot of cows by hand.
Oh,
Milking
my.
machines, when did they become really popular? In the 40s?
Well,
In late 40s?
yeah, about probably 42 to on, they had milking machines. Mostly De La Valle at the time. Then they had Surge.
Surge and De La Valle.
Yep.
It was a whole different ball game back then, and we've talked about it often, but I think we should bring it up again. It was way different than it is now because you had milk cans.
Milk cans.
And you had a milk house with a cooler in it.
And put the cans in the ice and water vat.
And then the guy would come along with a truck, and he'd take the milk cans,
Yep.
put them on his truck.
Right.
And that was, you talk about strength. One of the strongest men I had ever seen worked on one of those milk trucks. And he would take a can, and I thought I was pretty tough when I could carry a can in each hand. But then he would throw them on the truck.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable.
Well, while I was working for Tom Robinson, we used to have to pasteurize the milk. And we had to dump the cans. The vat was probably 5 feet high. We have to dump the milk into the vat to pasteurize it. That was kind of tough.
That's amazing. Most people don't even know what a milk can looks like. Have you still got any around here?
No, my daughter took them.
She did?
Yeah.
I got 2 on my front porch.
Well,
I try to keep a coat of white paint on them.
I had 2, and I wanted to keep them, but my daughter said, "Dad, can I have them?" So I couldn't.
I got a strainer out in the garage.
You do.
I don't have used to have parts of a separator, but I don't have that anymore.
I always kept 8, 9 head of animals here, cattle.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yes. We had fresh cow in the spring, fresh cow in the fall. We raised beef. We had pigs, and we always had a big garden. My wife canned 400 or 500 cans of stuff.
Think about that. People tell me I can't 20 cans of tomatoes.
Oh my
But
gosh.
in those days, you just had shelves and shelves and shelves, and that's what you lived on. And you canned beef too, and chicken.
Oh yes, we had a lot of stuff. Yep, we had all kinds of vegetables, plenty of milk, probably 16, 17 quarts, 18 quarts of milk a day, and it all went.
You know, I can't even imagine. And did your wife bake bread back in those
Oh
days?
yes, some. We still do some.
Do you really?
Still do, yep.
There's nothing like the taste of homemade bread, and I can't have it anymore because I'm on that Atkins diet, but
I
have had a lot of it.
I baked 3 loaves the other day.
Did you really?
Yep. I made applesauce,
Oh, boy.
and I cooked.
And you didn't call me up. And you can what?
And I didn't can, but I froze a bunch of beans too, just lately.
The beans were good this year for you?
Very good. Yep.
That's one of my favorite things in the world,
Yeah.
string beans.
Oh yes.
I had string beans in one dish and asparagus in the other for dinner along with my steak last night.
Yep.
And I love the vegetables. That's the beauty of having a garden. Isn't it?
I got a good garden. Yep.
And everything turned out well. Took me a long time for my tomatoes to turn.
Right over there.
Let me see if I can. Oh, yeah, right behind you. So you had a good.
I got flowers besides vegetables. I got a lot of flowers.
Yeah. Did you get a lot of good tomatoes this year?
Yep. Yep.
Just took a while for them to ripen.
They're slow on ripening, but I even got a little patch of buckwheat there.
Do you had to grow some buckwheat? Come on.
Yes, it's right out there.
Oh, my goodness.
It keeps the weeds from where I don't plant garden.
How do you till it? Do you till it by hand?
Oh, yeah. No, I got a tiller.
Do you?
Oh, yes.
Well, you know,
I got a tiller. I got tractors.
you still like to work with your hands and work outside in the garden.
Oh, yes. I just put up 23 cords of wood, cut it,
Did you really?
split it, piled it. I buy tree-length woods, all sizes. Saw it up, split it, pile it, then I take it down cellar.
Have you got a splitter?
Oh, yes.
You got a wood splitter?
Yep.
Because we used to have to do that by hand, you know.
I've done some of that.
Some of that stringy elm.
Oh, boy. Yes.
Say a lot of bad words trying to get it split up. Been there, done that.
Been there, done that.
26 cords,
23.
23.
Yep.
And then, you know, somebody told me,
I've been doing that for years.
well, that's why you're in such good shape for 85.
I got 2 tanks of oil down cellar. I got one in the barn. I probably had it 20 years. I keep it for in case.
I hope it's still good. 20 years.
Yeah, it's still good.
Well, but you were in pretty good shape when the ice storm came then, weren't you?
Oh, yes.
Nice and toasty.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
throw the wood on the fire, right?
That's all. Yep.
I bet you probably keep a few kerosene lamps around in case the lights go out.
We still got them. And, of course, I bought a generator.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. I bet a big generator.
So that you're set to fire that up if you need it.
Yep.
Lots of people bought generators during that ice storm. Peg and I were talking about the ice storm this morning before I
Yes.
came up here. She was telling me all your secrets. And it just happened that this place looked like a war zone
Yes.
after that. And
Oh,
poor
my.
Peg, I thought she was freezing to death. And I got one of my big kerosene heaters and came back in and tried to get across her yard. And the ice must have been 4 or 5 inches thick.
Oh, it was
I
terrible.
thought I was gonna fall on my behind just getting inside to let her borrow that because she was keeping warm with her gas stove oven, and I was scared to death that
Yep, that's bad.
she was gonna have trouble. So I brought. Oh, that was a time we'll never forget, huh?
Yeah, I had 2 grandsons that came here every day. I was out of power for 13 days.
You were.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess there were a lot of people out for a couple of weeks and across the border
Yeah.
on the north side. Some for a lot longer than that, even.
During the ice storm, I got so much wood, it took me 3 years to get it all sawed up
Did you really?
from the village and the neighbors, and I had some 4 feet on the stump.
No kidding. So you had plenty of wood. You didn't have to buy wood that year
I didn't
for a
buy
while.
wood. I didn't buy wood for about 5 years.
Wow.
Yep.
Then you had to start buying wood again, huh?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Do you buy it locally or?
I buy it from Mike Dragoon from Scioto. Tree Link.
I don't know if wood is getting in short supply this year or not, but oil prices are going up. So I think when that happens and people go back to burning wood,
Yep.
then we go back to chimney fires. Have you ever had one?
No, never had a chimney fire. I clean my chimney every year. I just done it here a month ago. Clean my chimney, and I tarred some of my roof the other day. I do everything.
Well,
Whatever needs doing, I do it.
well, that's why you're still going strong at age 85. But to have you tell me you burned wood all those years and never had a chimney fire, that's hard for me to believe. That's amazing.
Never had. I keep it clean.
Keep it clean and
Yep.
and build it up good and hot
Yep.
at least once a day.
Every day.
And it keeps you got a big wood stove or?
Furnace,
Oh,
hot water boiler.
Oh.
I got an oil boiler and oil, but I don't use it. And I got a wood boiler right side of it. I run the wood boiler.
Right into the same flue or?
Same. It's the same hot water system.
That works good then.
Oh, beautiful.
Well, farmers.
Only thing is, it's very hard work.
But once again, let me remind you, that's why you're sitting here with me.
Probably.
If you started to sit and rock when you were 55 years old, like a lot of people do these days, then you wouldn't be sitting here at 85 talking about putting in 23 cords of wood.
Yeah, I know it.
And that hard work has kept you going, and you're in great shape.
And beside all the work I do, I do all kind of woodworking.
Well, I've heard some stories. And this morning when I talked to Peg on the telephone, she says, make sure you look at the cabinet, and make sure you look at that door with something about a door with a motor from a car.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
Well, that's just my cellar door. I use a hoist to lift it up because it's pretty heavy.
So you invented some kind of a...
No, just it's nothing really.
Yeah,
Nothing.
easy for you to say.
Nothing very complicated.
Except that you push a button and the door opens.
Well, no, you have to twist it.
Oh, you have to twist it.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes a difference.
Twist a little thing there. Yeah.
Oh, we're going to see that. But
Yep.
also, you enjoy woodworking.
I got 9 kids, and I made a third of all their furniture.
Come on.
Yes,
How did you get started on the furniture thing?
little by little. Little by little.
You learn by doing, I guess.
Learn by doing. Magazines and some books. And I made hundreds of pieces of stuff.
And you still do.
Still do. I'm making cabinets for my son Loyal for his kitchen out of oak,
Oh, my.
and so they're really nicer than mine.
Well, let him move in here and you can move in his place.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So you do that all the time, every day?
And beside, I fix chairs and bureaus and drawers and all kinds of stuff for everybody. And my price is so good, I get
Is it a good price?
I get a lot of work.
That's a lot of work when it's free,
Yeah.
Well, can we take a look at some of the stuff you've made and
Sure.
everything else? Let's stop for a moment and we'll continue our interview with a most interesting guy, Ed Sterling, up in Rouses Point.
Oh.
Little wind coming up today on this first day of September 2004. A little tiny bit of sunshine, some clouds, but it's a good day to be alive, Ed, right?
Oh, you bet.
And we thought we'd maybe step out back here before we went inside because I wanted to take a look at your nice garden here. Tell me all the stuff you have in here.
Well, right in front of us, we got a nice bunch of asters and zinnias. We got peppers, tomatoes, onions, beans, gladiolas, raspberries, cucumbers, and my little field of buckwheat.
I love that little field of buckwheat. What are you going to do with that?
Just till it in.
Just till it in, but you got to grow it, and it's growing good. It looks like some over here in this corner too. Did you drop a few seeds?
Yeah,
No.
well, the wind.
Oh, the wind does that, doesn't it?
The wind took them.
That's because I feed birds at my house and I got sunflowers growing everywhere.
Sure. Yeah.
Matter of fact, we were feeding some ducks on the riverbank last winter with corn.
I'll be
Now I
darned.
got a little corn patch on my
I'll be
riverbank.
darned.
Probably not good. I noticed a little patch of clear ground over
Well,
here. The
that's
Calvin's
where
left. And
that's where I had a pile of wood. I cleaned it up, and I decided I want to put no more wood there, so I put it over farther.
how many times? Somebody figured this out. How many times you have to handle the wood from the time it's growing in the woods until you burn it?
At least 7.
Isn't that amazing?
Each stick about 7 times.
When you buy wood that's all seasoned and split, you should pay $500 a cord for it because of all the work that goes
Well, I
into
seen
it.
an ad in the paper is $50 a cord.
Is it now for face cord?
$50 a cord, face cord. Yep.
'Cause, of course, when we were burning wood way back when in our house in Morrisonville, we burned about 13 full cords
Yes.
in a winter because our house wasn't very, very well insulated. 13 full cords,
4 foot,
4 foot
4
cords.
by 8.
Yep.
4 by 4 by 8.
And we'd have it delivered on the front yard, sometimes by the tractor trailer load. And
Yep.
there'd be piles of wood this high.
There's a bee on the flower.
Oh, look at this. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
So you got some fruit trees here. You told me you used to have a lot more.
I used to have a lot more, but over the years, they died.
So you had different kinds of fruit trees?
I had apples, pears, peaches, plums, cherries. I got 5 apple trees left. Excuse me.
Yeah.
This tree is 5 different apples.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Now that's the kind I'd like to plant sometime.
Yep. There's 5 different apples on that tree.
So when you buy the little tree, it's all already been put together, huh?
Yep. Yep.
It looks like you're going to have a nice crop this year.
Well, pretty good.
You'll get to make some good applesauce again.
I did, yeah. I made a lot, but I got a lot more than I need.
Now, how much property is yours here?
3 acres.
Oh, 3 acres.
Yep. Got 3 acres.
Along both sides? Do you go past that hedgerow out there? Or?
No, just this. That's it.
And you've been here for
60 years.
60 years. That's wonderful. Now we're going to look inside and have a look at what that shop looks like.
Okay.
I-
There's my
Oh, you got
my toys.
you got to have toys. That's a nice tractor.
Yep.
Wow-wee.
That's a.
What do you got, a bucket on the front?
Oh yes. Oh my, I like that.
That's got to be handy for you, huh?
Yep.
You got an extra oil tank out here,
Yep.
and you may not even need it this year.
Well, not this year, but I might sometime.
Wow, look at this tractor.
Yep. That's 28 years old.
My.
Old Alice Chalmer.
Old Alice Chalmer is still running?
good. Oh yes, very good.
Calvin and I like to go to the old antique gas engine and tractor shows. I love to look at the old tractors.
That's been a good tractor.
Well, you got to have. It looks like you got 3 tractors in here.
I got my white there, 25 horsepower white. I mow my grass with that.
Oh, you do?
And I got my son's tractor in there too. He don't have place for it.
Okay, I saw your tiller back in the corner and your gas cans.
There's a tiller on the back of that.
Oh, there's a tiller in the back of that too?
Oh yeah. I'm all fixed up.
If you're gonna,
I got no money. We got a lot of toys.
no, you got to have a lot of toys. But you said something before that struck a nerve with me because it's true. We didn't know we didn't have anything when we were young.
Just as happy.
All we knew is if we wanted to go to a store and buy something, our parents didn't have the money to give us, so we'd have to go and earn a quarter or a nickel,
Right.
dollar,
Yep.
whatever we had to go earn somewhere.
Yep.
But as long as we had, had a warm bed at night
Enough to eat.
and enough to eat and some hand-me-down clothes that your mother could sew patches on and darn your socks.
What else you need?
I'd like to know how many women out there now who are homemakers even know what that means when I say darn the socks. And I'm not swearing when I say darn the socks.
Right.
But in those days, my mother used to have what was it, a China egg
Well,
like a China egg or something that was round
with a handle on it.
with a handle on it, and the sock would go over it,
Yep.
so it would be rounded at the
Right.
surface, and they'd just work on it and weave that in there.
Right.
And there'd be a little lump there sometimes on the sock, and it wasn't in a bad place. It would be all right.
They don't do that today.
You know what? We don't fix things anymore.
No.
Think about it. When you were a young man, and where did I read something about in one of the columns lately, or an editorial, but people don't fix things.
No.
How many people take their shoes to the shoemaker anymore?
Oh, no.
But in those days, how many times did we resold those old shoes? Or if
Yep.
they'd split out on the side, you can go get them sewed up for 50 cents.
Today they throw it away and buy a new one. But they got too much money.
Yeah. But farmers, people like you, who are used to living on the farm, when something broke, you had to fix it.
You had to
If
fix
you
it.
didn't have a part for it, you'd make a part
Right.
for it. Otherwise, you'd have to wait for weeks for it to get there.
Made it work.
You made it work somehow. You'd fix everything. You'd fix things in your home.
Yep.
That's probably why you learned to build furniture. You wanted a piece of furniture and couldn't afford to buy it, so you made it.
Made it. I excuse me.
That's all right.
I put roofs on my house 3 times since I've been here.
3 times?
I had
That's
put it-
pretty good. Every 20 years?
About 25, yeah. 20, 25. I had put a roof on when I come here. About 25 years after. And just lately some. next time it's going to be somebody
That's
else.
somebody else that gets up that high. I suppose you don't enjoy that much climbing anymore, right?
Not really.
That's great. Well, what do you say we look in the wood shop, huh?
Yep.
Boy, this is the part I like. This is your shop. What?
Right.
Look at these old beams up here. How old is this barn anyway?
This has got to be over 200.
Really?
This house, yes.
No kidding.
Of course, this part here I built on. But from here on,
You think it really dates back
come over
200
here,
years?
you can really see the.
Look at this. Look at the size of these beams and the pegs.
Yeah.
Was this actually a house? This part of it was a house at one time?
This was the carriage house.
This was the carriage house that went with it.
Right. And this was in there. That's what they call a summer kitchen.
Oh,
Yeah.
summer kitchen.
Right.
It was too hot to cook in the house, so
Yeah.
you'd have a summer kitchen where
Yeah.
you'd cook the meals because you had to have a.
But
a
I
stove
turned it
going.
into my shop.
Well, what have you got? What have you done here to this place? Because you got some beautiful equipment here.
Well, I got a 20-inch planer there. I got another 13-inch planer over in the corner. I got 3 table saws, 2 joiners, 2 band saws, rail arm saw. I made a router table there, but I got 8 routers.
Oh, you got to have enough routers. You got 8 routers. Here's
Yeah.
one right here.
I made this.
Isn't that amazing?
I got a 3.5 horse router in there, and I made the table, and I made that one.
You got an old desk over here that looks like it's about 100 years old.
That came out of Myers Building.
Downtown?
Yeah, in downtown, and that chair came with it. That
This
old
chair in the corner. Oh,
Right.
yes. Look at that.
should finish it.
Why? I like it the way it is.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
That's great. Look at this old stuff. Look at this right here.
Yeah.
That's an old piece that's been around,
I don't remember where that come from.
but it's been used and
Yep.
used and
Oh, yeah.
used. And
Yeah, still is.
a little bit of paint here and there, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Still being used.
Now look at another old desk over here.
Yep.
Do you have some old tools too? Old hand tools and
A
stuff that
little
you
bit.
saved from? I love it. All right, let's walk in the other room here. Look at these. Look at this old floor. That's part of the original.
Yeah, there used to be cabinets here, the old type. I got lathe, another table saw here, band saw. And
You like old desks, don't you? Look
Yeah.
at the old desks he's got.
I don't remember where I got.
But he makes workbenches
Well, they make
out of
good
them.
benches.
Look at this. Just think of how many things have been made on. This is a history.
Well, this is a working. This is a working bench. It ain't.
This kind of stuff should be in a museum. Look at this.
Yeah.
How many times you've poked and
Oh,
prodded
my
and
God.
drilled and sawed and hammered and beat on it
A million times.
and look at the. That's amazing.
Yep.
Each one of those marks tells a story.
Right.
I bet you never hammered your finger or cut your finger.
I've done that too.
Have you?
Yeah. And I got 100 pieces of all kinds of stuff.
Oh, you got muffin pans for your
Yeah.
bits and things
Yeah,
over there.
sure. Yeah.
Why not?
Handy.
That's like something I might come up with. Wait a minute. I got to look at this. What do we got here?
Them are weights.
For what?
I use them to put down on stuff, hold stuff down for clamps. I don't
It
know
says
where.
U.S. Customs on them,
I know it. I don't know where they come from.
and you wouldn't admit it if you did.
Well, they were here when I come.
Oh, they were really?
They were here and
But
I
that's
came.
handy when you got to clamp
Yeah.
something or weight it down after you glued it.
I used to be able to take them and go like this.
Remember when I talked about anvil? There's a small anvil
Yep. Yes.
right there.
Yep.
At least people get an idea when they had no idea what we were talking about when we talked about the horn end of an anvil.
Right.
And you got a lot of stuff that you just hung around with. Look at this.
That came.
Look at this.
That came. Miner dug the river out through. See, where was that now? Somewhere in Chazy, and they had an old machine there, and I took this off in it.
Well, it was on a machine?
Yep.
I wonder where
They dug the river out.
Really?
Suckertown or
Is that Suckertown or where would that be?
No,
That's so interesting. Wait a minute, it's got something written on it.
that machine is still in the woods in back of Glen Lattimore's.
Oh, really? The old machine is still
It's
there
still
in
there.
the woods?
Yep.
Tracy Brook.
Tracy Brook?
Tracy Brook. Yep.
Oh, my.
Yep.
Everything's got a story, Ed.
Yeah.
We're talking with Ed Sterling here, right off the Sterling Road and the Sweeney Road up in Rouses Point. A most fascinating guy who's had an interesting life, but this is what his great love is.
Yep.
Working in the shop.
Working in the shop.
Well, things get piled up on you. Just come out here and relax and start cutting up something. And
Yep.
do you draw up your own plans ahead
Oh,
of time, or how do you do it?
Everything just comes out of my head.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like in the kitchen, right?
Yep.
It comes out of just a little pinch of this and a little pinch of that.
See a picture of something and I do it, build it.
You know, that's an amazing talent, because I see a picture of something and then I go and buy it in the store. But you just kind of have an idea about how it would go together, huh?
Yep. Right.
Do you build your furniture the old-fashioned way with dovetails and everything, or?
Not dovetails. No, I never did dovetails. I always thought about it, but I never got to it.
You never, do you do it?
Morris and tenon and
That's great. What do you like building best? What kinds of things? Desks, chairs, cabinets, you name it?
not really.
Just whatever
Whatever
you're
Whatever-
doing at the moment?
whatever the request or the need is.
What's the most important tool that you have, do you think? Router? Planer?
Table saw.
Table saw you got to have.
Yeah. See, I made another table for this this table.
Goodness knows what these pieces of wood
That's
were supposed to be originally.
that's mullein.
I don't even know what that means. It's a kind of wood, you mean?
No, it's composition of some kind.
Oh, it is, a composition board.
Very hard.
Oh, it's almost purple.
Yep.
That's amazing. So you find a piece that fits and you make it.
Whatever I get my hands on, or somebody brings me, or
Well, Well, you're extremely well organized. What would those things be up on the top there?
They're towel holders.
Towel holders.
Yep.
All right, I'll take your word for it. Oh yes, of course, little creatures.
And I got some that I haven't put together yet over here.
All right, towel holders. I've seen those. Oh wait a minute, we got one sitting right here with towels on it.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Look at this old stuff. Look at this. This is brass, isn't it? This hammer?
Yes.
Oh, that's an owl. I gotcha. And a rooster. I know my farm animals. And a horse and a dog.
I made all kinds. See, I got the bases made. Now I'm gonna put a thing
Put a
on it.
dowel in there.
Yep.
Put those on there. Then do you paint them up or stain them, or what do you do?
Well, I make them, and whoever I give them to, I let them paint them.
Oh, that's a smart way to do it. You buy them unfinished and you go to work on it, right?
No, I give them away.
Oh, you do?
I've made probably 200-300. I got some all over the country.
Do you ever sign your name on it, or do you not?
Not really.
You should sign your name and the
should.
date you made it, so that 200 years from now, somebody will say,
I suppose so.
Ed Sterling made that back in 2004.
Yeah.
You got all kinds. You got to have a lot of clamps.
Yeah, I got a lot of clamps. I do have an old piece here.
Oh boy. For those people who are into old
There's an old
tools, look at that. Would that be a Stanley plane, do you think?
I don't know.
I wonder if that's the original base on it. Do you think so?
I think
bet you it is.
I think so.
Look at this.
Yep.
These old
I don't know
wooden hand planes,
Yep.
especially the early Stanley models, are beginning to be worth a whole lot of money. And I had a collection that my father-in-law, the late Alfred Vaughn, gave me, and I passed them along to one of my son-in-laws who loves to work in wood.
That's quite old.
Look at this.
Yep.
That's been around for a long time.
Been around a long time.
Oh my goodness. Do you
Right.
ever still use it?
No.
No.
I got a brace on the wall over there too.
Well, and a lot of people wouldn't even know what a brace is. So you'd go over and
See over in the corner there?
on
Yeah.
the corner.
Yeah.
And a draw shave.
Yep.
Those are things that people may not be familiar with anymore because they're so used to using power tools. You never use a hand brace anymore?
Very seldom.
Yeah, because you got power drills, right?
Right. I got
Look at the power equipment he's got on the shelves over here. He's
I
got,
got-
drills and drills and drills and
all kinds.
whatever you need.
Sanders, and then I got routers, jigsaws, staplers.
Is that I'll try to see what this is down here. Excuse me for grabbing things, but
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
love squares
That's an old
because
piece.
I'm a square person myself. But look, take a look at this square.
Yep.
And if you think that was made in the last 2 years, you're wrong.
my
You
golly.
got brass edges on it.
Yeah.
It's held together with brass diamonds.
Yep.
And I dare say that this square is maybe 150 years old.
Probably.
I mean, I really don't know, and probably somebody who's an expert would know. But I just saw it sitting there, and I said, wow.
I don't remember where it come from, of course. Now.
Yeah, who would know? Isn't that neat?
Probably was here when I bought the place.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm sorry to touch your stuff,
It's
but I
all
love
right,
I
bud.
love old tools. And an old square like that, I'll probably put it in there so we'll trip over it. But anyway, you got things the way you want them. Look at these old beams.
Yep. Big old beams.
It takes a lot of clamps. I love clamps because I'm not very good at building things, but I like to glue things together.
Yes.
And you got to have good glue, and you got to have clamps. And you got big ones, you got furniture clamps, you got pipe clamps,
All kinds of clamps.
and you got wooden clamps,
Yep.
and you got hand clamps, and you got clamps everywhere.
Everywhere.
Because when you put it together, you got to hold it there while the glue dries, right?
Yep. I got big ones, little ones.
Have you ever made your own glue, or do you buy
I'll buy it. Yeah.
buy glue?
Yeah.
Because I can remember my father with a glue pot.
Yes. Yep.
And
Yep.
I don't know if they made it out of horse hide or what did they glue pots. They used to say the horse is going to, if you don't quit acting up, you're going to the glue factory. I don't know if they made it from horses' hooves or, but you used to have to.
I really don't know.
You used to have to heat the glue pot.
Yep.
I remember
I
that.
know about it, but I never used it.
And I think we went to see Art Pierce, a good friend of ours who works on pianos and rebuilds pianos, and I think he had a glue pot in his shop there, I remember one time.
Of course, here's where I get some of my ideas.
Oh, you got your magazines and your books, and I bet some of those are pretty old.
Yes.
Home workshop books,
Yep.
home energy, fix it yourself
Fix it
manuals.
yourself.
He's got, like everybody who's got a workshop has got jars of stuff. Jars and jars.
Jars and stuff.
Well, your workshop's pretty well organized, and mine is.
Well, I cleaned it up a little bit.
Oh, you did.
See, I got hot water heater in here.
You got the old radiator in here. That's a nice radiator.
I got heat
Heat in your workshop.
you bet.
Boy, that's kind of neat.
Yep.
Remember the old radiators? They used to clink and clang, and
Yep.
get a little air, get them air bound, and you'd
Yep.
have to open the valve
Open
a
the
little
valve,
bit.
let the air out.
Yeah, I've been around a little while, seen the old radiators clink and clank, and oh boy, this is a great old,
Yep.
great old building.
I'm a very busy man.
Well, you know what? That's the way to be. May you always be there till you're 115 years old.
Oh boy, I doubt it.
Well, can you show us some of the stuff you've made?
Sure.
We'd love to see it.
Go right in.
Stay with us. Well, we're just coming inside the house here to see something. You made that little step stool. You said you've made a lot of those.
Made about 5, 6 of them. Give them all away.
But that's handy around the house, and you got a little space in there
Yep.
to keep stuff down inside if you want to.
Yep.
Now, is that your own design, or did you see that in the...
I saw that in the magazine.
Did you really?
Yes.
And if you didn't see a design, you'd make your own design,
Make
wouldn't
my
you,
own.
huh?
Then I made that desk for my wife.
Oh, my goodness.
She keeps it pretty full.
Isn't that wonderful? Oh, that's beautiful. Look at those drawers, how easy they go. How long ago did you make that?
Quite a while ago.
And it folds up.
Yep.
That's like look at that.
Yep.
Did you make this cabinet?
I made this. I call that a pantry cupboard.
A pantry cupboard.
Pantry cupboard.
Oh.
I made 14 of them.
Come on.
14 of them.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is the one that Peg was telling me about this morning. She says, make sure he opens that cabinet. Oh, wow-wee. Come on. He's got the Lazy Susan in there.
Yep.
Look at these doors, and there's room on the doors.
Yep.
Open and shut, and you made them for different family members and stuff, or what?
Yep.
Oh, and the drawers too, huh?
Yep.
Well, that's what you need to do. You got to have a ways to store stuff. Look at this. Well, if the lights ever go out where I am, I'm coming up here. You got enough food to last at least a week and a half.
To last a while.
Oh, that's great. Hello. How are you?
My wife Rita,
Rita, pleased to meet you.
62 years.
I-
She's been giving me hell for 62 years.
Listen, I was talking with Peg Barkham this morning.
Oh, really?
And Peg Barkham said she'd call me up and say, come on over, have a cup of coffee. She thinks you people are the best in the whole world.
Mad at her. I haven't seen her. She was telling me she was going to come. I guess she's having a problem with her legs.
She has a lot of problems with her legs, but she's still the same old Peg, and she's a wonderful person. She spends a lot of time over at the senior center on Elm Street in Plattsburgh. She lives in the high rise. next to a couple of sisters I know.
He lives next to his sisters.
Yes, one of them lives with him and one lives next door.
Yeah.
So we didn't mean to intrude on your house, but we're just doing
Don't look at him.
we're
Might be
just-
dirty, but I
Oh, who cares? Who cares? It's lived in.
See,
Yeah.
Oh, you built in the...
all these, this used to be the outside wall.
Oh, we did.
It was,
And
yeah,
I,
but no, this was a pantry. Edwin.
well, yeah, but that was the outside
Yeah,
wall.
Yeah, right.
And there used to be a big pantry here. And all them picture frames I made
He's made a
500
lot,
of them
Isn't that
probably.
amazing?
Yeah, he did.
Now,
Look at
behind you, open the doors.
Don't
It won't.
look at
It's not Fibber McGee and Molly, is it?
Open the doors.
It's not Fibber McGee. Oh no, nothing fell out. I love it. Look at
It
this.
needs a cleaning, but I'm not up to doing it. So.
Look at this.
Open them.
Oh my goodness. Look at the size of the hinges.
Yep.
You didn't want it to fall off, did you? Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
What made you do it that way?
I don't
I
know.
wish I had one like that.
I don't really know.
You don't know. You just said, "Well, I think I'll put a cord in there and
Hold the stuff in.
to hold the stuff in." It makes perfect. It smells good in there too. I like smells. Good smells. Look at the old spiders,
Yep.
frying pans, and all kinds. So you built this whole thing? Where did you find
That's the
these
first one I made.
Where did you find these huge
Pardon?
piano hinges?
Vic West.
Wow.
Down when Vic West was in
Yeah, probably.
the lumber business.
Oh, really?
You got hundreds of pounds of stuff in these.
Yep.
But who would ever guess? Mother Hubbard's cupboard. Oh, isn't that? Look at that. Look at some of the old kitchen utensils.
Yep.
You know, I wrote
Graders.
a column for next week. Now we're recording this on the first day of September, 2004, and the column that's coming out in the paper next week is about aprons.
Aprons.
Because all of a sudden it dawned on me that women don't wear aprons in their kitchens
I was
anymore.
saying that the other day.
You were?
Yep.
Well, I'm glad I brought it up then.
Yep.
But remember, there used to be an apron drawer.
Yep.
There'd be holiday aprons and plain aprons and half aprons and full-length aprons.
We were
and-
talking about that the other day. Women don't wear aprons anymore.
Of course you can.
But, you know, I never realized it. I don't know if Calvin didn't. I mean, you go into kitchens and people spend a lot of time in their kitchens. If they'd come in Sunday and with a good dress on,
Yep.
and besides, they didn't, they did a lot of washing by hand and stuff, and so they wear the same dress 2 or 3 days, and they didn't want to get it dirty.
Right.
So every time they'd come in the kitchen, on would go the apron.
Right.
And there was a drawer with aprons, extra aprons, in case somebody came in to help you make the muffins, or
Yep. Right.
help you do the dishes.
Yep.
And some of them were really fancy, and some were really plain. We're talking about aprons, and I wrote a column about it for next week. Women don't wear aprons in the kitchen anymore.
I have them, but I don't wear them.
That's what Peg says. I got aprons. You know, it dawned on me that when I go wash dishes in the church for a dinner or something, we got the big aprons that we put on.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife Kay goes over to help with the bereavements in the church, and they all put aprons on because they got their good clothes on when they go over there.
Oh, yeah.
And our mothers and our grandmothers, and sometimes we, when we worked in the kitchen, wore aprons. And then, I don't know when it stopped, but it
I
suddenly...
don't either, but they haven't worn them in years, as far as I can remember.
No, a friend of mine sent me an email about it, and I thought, and I said, no, I haven't seen my wife put an apron on in a long, long, long time. So,
Look,
anyway.
I'm gonna show you. I do stuff too.
Oh,
see?
yes, we got to see the stuff that you do. Oh, look at this.
These are dishcloths. I made her 3 for her birthday. Her birthday was Sunday.
That's a dishcloth. I would never use it
No,
for a
I know a lot of
dishcloth.
people use them for doilies.
That'd be a
They're
doily.
dishcloths, and I got another one started
Oh,
here. See,
my goodness.
so
that's
that's
beautiful.
My pastime.
Isn't that? How
Thank
many
you.
of you? How many have you made?
Oh, I can't begin.
762,000.
At Christmas, I make my daughters eat 5 apiece, and there's
Oh, you
5
do?
of them.
Hundreds of them.
And I make 3 for each my granddaughters and her, and oh,
Oh, I love them.
I'll make a couple.
Now, who are you?
I'm their granddaughter,
What's your name?
Nancy.
Nancy, we're pleased to meet you. I didn't mean to put you on
Nancy
the spot
does
with the
a-
No,
camera.
no, that's fine.
Well, we have to.
One of 22, Brenda.
You guys are beat. You got 22 grandchildren, and we got only 20. I'm going to tell my kids when I get.
21 grandchildren. And
Oh, wait a minute. He was
27
wrong.
I said 22.
He did.
21 grands.
yeah, but
and
maybe-
27 great.
Oh, maybe he knows something you don't know.
Oh, if he does, it's something.
Maybe there's 22 coming. I just
Oh, yeah, we'll have more, I'm sure, because we have more to be married.
just talked to one of our granddaughters, Kelly, a couple of days ago, and she just found out that she's going to have a boy.
Oh.
They're all
I think
excited.
that spoils the fun when they find out what they're going to have.
That's-
We never could do that. And I wouldn't if I could have. I wanted a girl every time I had a boy. I had 4 boys and then 5 girls. So,
And I can remember in the old days before they had scientific ways of doing these highfalutin sonograms. I can remember the women, the young girl would be pregnant, and the mother and grandmother would say, "Okay, here's what you do: you take a thread, and you hang a needle on the bottom of the thread, and hold your hand,
Yes.
and
My mom used to do that to me all the time.
and see if it goes back and forth this way, it's a girl. If it goes this way, it's going to be a boy. And if it swings around in a circle, you may be in trouble." But I can remember doing that, and they were trying to figure out whether they're going to have a boy or a girl.
never heard
And you had a 50-50 chance of being right no matter what you did, right? That is very interesting. And
but I think it spoils the fun of having a baby. I mean, if you know ahead of time what you're going to have, I'm excited to see what I'm going to have, And I wanted a little girl so bad, I had to have 4 boys before I could have any girls.
you had a tune-up. You had a tune-up for the girls. That's all. You had a tune-up.
5 girls.
Isn't that amazing?
We have 9, and they're all very, very good to us. All very good children.
We talked when we were out on the porch. We started out talking about big families. We've talked about big families in our personal lives and in our public
I
lives.
wouldn't be without them. Don't talk to me about being a lonely old woman with no children when you're old. I was in
can't.
the hospital with a lady, and she had 2 children. And one worked down the road from where we were in the hospital. And the other one lived in New York City, and he wasn't having any children. And she never saw her. She came twice, and I was there 2 weeks. And my children came, some of them came every day. So that's the difference between having children and not having
Can
them.
you imagine what what beautiful hair you have. Wow.
My head.
But can you imagine what a holiday would be like? What
Without
Thanksgiving would be like? What
I know.
Christmas Day
Yeah.
No.
would be like? What
Be
Easter
very,
would be
very
like?
lonely.
Without all your children and your
She-
grandchildren
she
and your
is
great-grandchildren.
This is Nancy, my oldest daughter's only son's wife. She's been married a year
You
last.
think I'm going to remember all of that when I walk out of this door? I'll remember Nancy at least till I get to the car.
Yeah. She's
My-
a sweetheart. She comes over and helps me because I have a hard time getting around. I'm a diabetic. And she helps me. And my daughter, Susie, comes in and vacuums all around and washes my kitchen and bathroom floors. Sometimes he does it. And
How many people watching this program can say they've lived in the same house for,
60 years next May. 60 years.
isn't it amazing?
Great.
Time flies
It
when
didn't
you're
look like
having
it does now
fun.
when we came here, though, he did a lot of changes in it.
He's
He's really hard.
he's the youngest 85-year-old man I've ever
Isn't he?
seen in
He's
my
the
life.
luckiest man I've ever known. I'll tell
We
you.
met a guy.
She said she was anxious to come here too.
Yeah, he said you really loved it when you came here. We got the whole message about
I was
that.
very lonely. I had my 2 little ones. I had Loyal and Paul. And I used to go out and cry and walk around the yard and cry because I was so lonely because
He
all my
squealed.
family worked, you know.
He squealed on you. But you know what? We squealed on him too because we found out what happened on his 80th birthday with the belly dancer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah. We got the word. We made it. We made him blush all over again. Somewhere, somebody's got that tape, that Peg made.
They have.
Sure, that's on video. I'd love to see that one myself. All right, let's move along here.
That's a piece I made
Oh, isn't that a nice cabinet? Did you really? When did you make that one?
a long time ago.
And when you know you made that when I came out of the hospital from having I went in and I had my main aorta valve replaced with mechanical. On December 1st, 1988. He made it that year.
Wow.
It's full of cups from all over.
Yeah,
You got collections of stuff too. That looks like our house where we have I have to, every once in a while, I got to give away two things. I got to give away hats because I collect caps and hats. I'll bring them in the front door. My wife's selling them in the flea market out the back door for $1 a piece. And everywhere I go, they give you a mug. So I got mugs and mugs and mugs.
I give away a little bit every once in a while.
Every now and again.
He's 85, so.
There we are. We put a new battery in. So you made this beautiful cabinet.
Yep.
You also said you put new windows?
All over. All over the house.
Really?
Yep.
And you made them?
No.
You just put them in
Put
yourself?
them in. Yep.
Whatever there is to do. That's a beautiful portrait there. When was that one done?
I know.
That's a real nice portrait.
About a couple, 3 years ago, I guess.
Was that done here, or did you go somewhere to have it done, or what?
Walmart.
Did you? Boy, that's really, really nice.
Yep.
You got a lot of pictures.
I made all the frames.
You made all the frames, too?
Well, not them metal ones. But
No, but the wooden frames.
All the wooden frames.
Oh, let's show your family here. This is the wall of fame over here. Let's show tell me who everybody is.
There's my kids.
Oh, my
4
goodness.
boys. Then the 5 girls.
Isn't that great?
Now there's our wedding pictures of
All on the wall, wedding pictures.
Yeah.
Whose wedding is this over here on the top?
That's
I think that's Susie, eh?
One on the left, on the left, way at the top.
Oh, way at the top. Oh, okay. Susie?
And then the girls in the middle are our 3 daughters at the top.
Oh, I can hear you. I can
And on
hear you.
the other side over here, Edwin, I can't tell from here. What picture is that?
I don't know. There's lots of great family pictures, and that's why a lot of smiling faces there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. We even got a football player from Beekmantown down here.
And Cumberland Head.
Ah, Cumberland Head, huh?
No, that's Susie's wedding picture, our oldest daughter.
Yeah.
What is this one here? This is Loyal and Barbara's wedding picture over here. The top one on the right is Loyal and Barbara. The one in the middle is our youngest daughter and her husband, Denise and Mike. And this is Denise and Mike and their 2 children. The one on the bottom is our second son, Paul, and his wife, and Edwin and I and her mother. And the one on the left is Brenda's second time around. That's her second wedding. And this one here is our Denise again and Mike, and that's Brenda and Bill.
She knows them all. Yeah, that's great.
This
The
is,
women know
this
everything.
is my husband
yeah.
and our grandson, Brandon, when he took for him for confirmation.
Oh, yeah.
This is my daughter in the middle here. Her husband, Bill, and Brenda in
this
the middle.
one right here, you mean?
Yeah, right in the
Yeah,
middle, under
okay.
the wedding picture. That's her son, Adam.
I
And the
got you.
bottom is Adam when he graduated from Plattsburgh State.
There you go. See, I knew you'd have it
Oh, I
down.
knew them all.
What a
And
mind,
the one
just
on
like
the
a.
back, see, the little picture is Denise's little boy. That's Matthew.
Oh, down here, you
Yeah,
mean?
right here on the couch.
Yeah.
I don't, to me, I can't, I don't hang them from the ceiling.
Isn't it great? What would we do without photographs, though?
And see, this is my great-granddaughter.
Oh,
and
way over
grandson,
here
yeah,
down on the
2
right-hand
little ones.
side. Oh, my goodness.
And this is my grandson. That's brother to the one with the blue shirt on. That's Nathan.
Where's this now? Oh, down below?
Yeah, right here on the stand.
Oh, I just
Boy.
can't keep up with all these kids.
And the one in the little frame is Edwin's brother and his wife from
Oh,
Kidder,
that little
Missouri.
gold. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Handmade
Of
stuff.
course, that's Edwin and I have our 60th wedding anniversary.
Yeah, and that was, what year was that?
Well, it's going to be 62 Sunday, but see, my son made
Oh,
a
62
smaller-
Sunday. Happy anniversary almost.
My son made a smaller version of it, and I like it better on his computer, so I took the big one down with that one.
It's amazing what you can do. And here's that famous footprints. Remember, we've seen it so many times. Look at this. Isn't that a delightful photograph? Looks just like him, doesn't it?
It's loyal.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and that's a picture of Edwin and I when we were married.
Oh, yeah. Last Tuesday, right?
Yeah, I wish.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wait a minute. He's scarfing stuff up in here. I don't know what he's doing, but he's getting something ready for us.
What are you doing?
You're going to show us some stuff, Ed? What do you got
I
here?
want you to see that other cabinet I made.
All right, I'm ready.
Oh, no.
And all their pictures in.
Oh, that's beautiful. When did you make that one?
A long time ago.
We don't have time to look to every one of the pictures, but boy, when you got a big family,
Take your oil.
look at the albums and albums and albums. This
Yes,
is.
and I got them all over the
There's a
floor
pile on the
here.
floor.
Oh, I know. We
I
got.
got them all over in his den
Er-
on the shelf.
You're lucky you got them in albums. In my place, they're in drawers, in cabinets, on shelves. One of these days, we're going to get together.
I
and
left them
write
in the
on
book,
'em.
So if you want to look at them, you know, you can look.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I don't know what you can do with this.
Well, I can show them. You hold that one, and I'll hold these two and let Calvin get a good picture of them. And you tell me all about it.
I made this cabinet, bureau desk, I call it, for the Casey's. I donated it to them to raffle off. They made $600. No, they made $1,200. They raffled it off, and they made $1,200. I donated it to Casey's.
Isn't that how?
I did put my name on the back of that one.
Well, good for you. You finally signed something. Did you put the date on it or just your name?
I think the date too.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Everybody's been telling
That's
me.
beautiful. And that's, where is it now? Do you know who owns it?
Yes, Brian Jefferson.
Brian Jefferson
Brian
owns that?
Jefferson. When you had that thing about the
Hockey?
Hockey.
hockey, I was wondering if you were going to see it. But
You know, I love the hockey stuff, but you know what I love more than anything in Brian's house? Butcher block.
Butcher Bot,
He's got the most beautiful butcher block.
I made one.
This was when his father had that.
This is one his father had in the shop.
I'll be there.
And they carried it. I don't even know how much it weighed, but he had it sitting there. And I said, I hope I don't have to move that to another room.
Now, that, when Father DeRush retired, I don't know if you ever knew him.
Nope.
Well, anyway, when he retired, he asked me to make him an altar, and I did.
Isn't that beautiful? Well, what did you use for plans?
Pardon?
What did you use for plans?
For playing?
Yeah, in your head again, right?
Yes.
In your head.
Our daughter Susan, her mother-in-law.
Right, I got to get
Our
over here
daughter
so I
Brenda,
get the microphone. I can hear you, but the
Our
microphone.
daughter Susan,
Yeah.
and our daughter Brenda, and our daughter Cheryl, and our granddaughter Jody all have a cabinet like the one he made. Only the ones that Susie and Brenda have are all finished and they're beautiful.
By the time you get to be 85, you get to make a lot of stuff.
Yes, I guess.
I made 6 of them.
Did you really?
6.
That's incredible.
These are
Oh,
big.
yes.
These are big as this, or
And did
bigger
you
than
tell
that.
them
Oh,
about
no
the
kidding.
cabinet
Yeah.
you've made for Loyal?
Yeah.
Did you tell them about them?
Yeah.
We got stuff. We got
See, I
stuff. We
got
have
some of
to.
them right here.
People going to be looking at this picture here on television for a long time to come.
No,
Okay.
I always take a picture of everything he makes.
Well, what's this?
Those are cabinets that he made for Loyal, for our son Loyal, for his new kitchen he put in.
Look at the doors. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's made out of oak.
Oh, yep.
But you make them finish them, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh, she
I
does
don't-
a
I don't
beautiful
like to
job of
finish.
finishing.
I hate finishing.
I can tell. You just make
He
the
likes
product,
to
and
build, but he doesn't like to finish.
if they want to stain it or paint it, more power to them, right?
More power to them.
That's the part I don't like either. Especially I did a dry sink one time. I can't tell you how many coats of polyurethane. I almost passed out 400 times. That polyurethane is nasty stuff.
Edwin, I don't really like him to go in the bathroom, but you made that cabinet too.
Yeah. They ain't gonna look at nothing, only the cabinet.
Don't
See
look at
that?
my bathroom.
I love it. I'll tell you, Nancy, it's great to meet you.
Yeah, me
Good,
too.
good luck. I love that accent. Bowl.
No, or
You know-
nor the picture either.
But back in the old days, in
Yep.
a room, there would be a pitcher and a bowl so
Yep.
you can freshen up. That's before the days of running water.
Yep.
But this is really, really nice.
Yep.
With a mirror on it and
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
And that's not unlike a lot of the old ones from from they used to be around way back when.
Yep. And I made this railing.
You did really?
Yep.
What did you have on here before?
Well, there was the old stripe on there, and my wife decided she didn't want it. So I took it off. Then she decided she wants a railing. So I put
Not that you would ever change her mind about anything, right?
I did it.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yep.
You probably made those bookshelves in there too, huh?
Oh yes, yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
This is supposed to be my room.
Oh, yeah? Oh, look at, he's got weights in here for lifting weights.
Yep.
This is a nice little cozy place
Yeah.
in here.
It's supposed to be my room.
But it doesn't always end up that
Bunch
way.
of albums in there.
More albums with pictures in them, right?
My gosh, yes.
That's really nice.
Yep.
Where did these pictures come from on the wall? That's nice.
How about that from True Value?
Did
The
you?
wallpaper. Yep.
Isn't that nice? I like that. Makes
Yeah.
you feel like you're sitting in the middle of the woods here.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a very, very nice room. That's an old tapestry over here,
Yep.
too.
My son gave me that.
I
And
wonder what-
my grandson already asked me if he could have it.
Oh, really?
I said yes.
Boy, that goes back a ways. Look how faded it is. You
Yep.
know, isn't that great?
Yep.
Well, you told me, I think, that you sold the property already to your grandson, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, you want to keep it in the family, don't you?
That's what I had in mind.
Yeah. Keep it in the family. It's been around here for a long, long time and was somebody's farm. Did you ever study the history of it to see who might have owned it 200 years ago?
Not really.
Who'd you buy it from?
Who did you buy it from?
Arnold Musson.
Arnold Musson.
Munson.
Oh, Munson.
Yep.
And who
I must-
knows how long they had it?
I
huh?
must tell you about this. Arnold Musson asked me, why don't you buy this place? Because I told him I liked it. Why don't you buy it? Well, I didn't have any money back then.
Who did?
And anyway, one day I met him in a bar, and he said, why don't you buy that place? Well, I said, I haven't got no money. He said, how much you got? I said, $20 and a little bit of change. So he said, give me the $20. Yes. We went to John Barron's, made out a land contract, put a 75-cent stamp on it.
Wow, that was big time when stamps were 3 cents, right?
This was 75 cents.
Yeah.
And $6 for a recording in Plattsburgh. $5 for Lawyer Smith from Rouses Point. A land contract. Took me 9 years to pay for it.
Isn't that amazing?
$20 down.
$20 down and a
No.
handshake, huh?
Yep.
Isn't that amazing?
That
That's a great story.
is amazing.
So you've owned it for all those years.
Yeah.
I wish I knew who he bought it from. There's probably some way to trace the deeds back to
I
see.
would imagine.
But you believe that parts of it at least are 200 years old.
It's at least 200. Gotta be.
Wow. Wow. There aren't too many buildings that are 200 years old in Clinton
Well,
County.
You can tell by them beams. They're really pretty good size. The whole house is.
I know we have one home in Morrisonville that dates back to about 1804, which would be 200 years, and that's the old Morrison house up on the top of the hill on Beckwith Street.
Mhm.
But there aren't a lot of buildings. There aren't too many buildings older than that are still around. You know, that's kind of cool.
Yep.
I guess it becomes home after a while, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's really great.
Well, we went to Bronson, Missouri,
Oh, you did?
and we were there about 6 days. When I drove in this yard, you can imagine how happy I was.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? It's always good to get home.
I kept singing on the way home, I want to go home.
I want to go home. That's what my wife.
Oh, Lord, I want to go home.
I love it.
Sounds like Bobby Bear.
Just like Bobby Bear. And that's what my wife said when we were in Mexico City. Couldn't make anybody understand our language. We couldn't find the plane we had to get on to go to Puerto Vallarta. And we're sitting there, and my wife looks at me and she says, I want to go home. We hadn't even got there yet. I want to go home.
Yeah.
We're always happy to be home. We love to travel, but we're always glad to be home.
To be home.
Glad to be home. So what else you got to show us?
Well,
You know, most people, when they're putting their house together, they would go to the store and buy a cabinet.
we did
Well,
that, but it was made out of particle board. Went to hell. So
Isn't
I
that
built a new
amazing?
one.
But look at this. That's beautiful.
Yep.
It's the doors are so nice and ornate and heavy. What kind of wood is that?
Oak.
It is.
Oak plywood and solid oak.
That's really, really nice.
Yep.
You don't remember what year that was?
Not really.
It's been here for more than a week and a half, huh?
Yeah, it's been there for about 5 years.
Has it really? That's beautiful. Now, I want to know, how old were you when you made the first thing out of wood? Can you remember?
Well, how old was I?
Yeah, how old do you think you were when you made something out of wood? As a small boy, maybe?
Yes. Yeah, I made stuff when I was quite young.
Did you?
Yes.
You just didn't start making the fancy stuff until later, though?
Well, I made some crude stuff to start with, and then a little better and a little better, and as it goes along.
Everything I've ever made is pretty darn crude. I've talked often on camera, and
You learn little tricks as you go.
you do.
and-
Not me. The trick I learn is don't ever do that again. You'll kind of cut your hand off.
The
Or
more you do, the easier it gets.
I tell this, I've told it on camera. I once made a doghouse, and the dog wouldn't go in it. He did something with it though, and I think I saw him put his leg back down after he lifted it up. And I used that. I put that doghouse out back, turned it on its side, and used it for a wood box for a long, long time. So that's the extent of my building stuff. You know, if I built a birdhouse, the birds wouldn't go in it. So,
Oh my gosh.
well, it's great to see your stuff. We're going to go outside and wrap this up and say goodbye and head down the driveway and have a great day. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Remember the old song we used to sing, Slide Down My Cellar Door and We'll Be Friends Forevermore? Remember that?
Yeah.
Look at this cellar door. Wait a minute. Oh, come on. Isn't that amazing? That's a pretty heavy door. You said you used to muscle onto it back in the old days.
But I don't do that no more.
Don't get too close there, Ed. We don't want to
Yeah,
get you falling.
don't let me lose you down there.
You want to see the wood I got down there?
No, you got wood down cellar?
Yeah, a lot
How
of it.
much?
Well,
Don't move.
Just
we're here. There we go.
on the way down the stairs, I saw the car battery that you had hooked up to your winch there.
Yes.
Who would ever use a car battery and a winch to open their cellar door? Only Ed Sterling.
Right.
And you got all kinds of stuff in here. Look at
It's all
Jams, 1996. String bean. That doesn't look like string beans.
No,
to
not
me.
now, but
I think they used to be.
it was. It used to
Vegetable beef soup, 1996.
Yep.
You used to have it all jam-packed full. And you got, wait a minute, I don't know if I can see back this far. Have you got maybe another light to put on? And well, there's a wood pile. There's more lights coming on. Calvin, watch yourself. He's taking us down here. Then he's going to want to borrow money and not let us out. Look at this. What do you do? Throw it all in the window? Or
Throw it down the window
throw it down the window?
and cord it.
Remember in the days when there used to be a coal chute and you
Yes.
deliver coal
I
and you put
delivered-
the chute in the window?
Right. Done it.
Been there, done that,
Done
right?
that. Done that. A lot of it.
Tons and tons of.
Oh my
Let
gosh.
me see, what different kinds of coal?
And-
Pea coal,
Uh,
different sizes.
uh,
There was pea coal. I remember pea coal and
stove-
rice,
Stove coal, rice coal, coke.
coke.
Yep.
And clinkers. There was always clinkers that came out of the stove.
Always.
And I always had to carry them out and spread them on the driveway.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, look at this old,
Here, this is, yep. Now there's a stump in there.
come on.
There's a stump in there, a great big stump. They never took it out.
And that stump dates back a couple hundred years.
Well, it's been there a long time.
Because look at this old basement, the old stones piled up and,
Yep.
wow.
This is my wood boiler.
So that's what burns all the wood in the wintertime,
Yep.
huh?
And that's my oil boiler.
Well, you got to have a little bit of both, right?
Yep.
So did you buy this or did you build it?
Bought it.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's a nice boiler.
Yep.
Well, we had to see what your basement looked like before we left because I had to see how that big cellar door opened up. I had to see if there was any great mysteries down here.
No mystery, just hard work.
Just hard work and a couple of cobwebs here and there, right?
Right.
All right, we're going to go outside and wrap up this fun program at Ed Sterling's place in Rouses Point. You know, it's really a pleasure for us to show little slices of North Country life to people. And Ed Sterling, I want to thank you for inviting us up to your place here on the Sterling and Schweiner Roads
You're very
in
welcome.
Rouses Point. We've enjoyed our little cook's tour of your place, the history of your family, your wife, and everything you've made and done. You're a big part of what this North Country is all about, and it's people like you that make us wish we could live long enough to accomplish all the things you've done in your lifetime. You have enjoyed your life up here, haven't you?
Oh, very much.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Calvin and I come back to help you celebrate your 100th birthday.
Oh my goodness.
It's only 15 years. You can make it. Just keep cutting that wood, right?
Just keep cutting the wood.
I love it. Thanks again for inviting us here, and we'll wave at you every time we go by, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, North Country, for watching our program. Stay with us for each new edition, and who knows where we're going to be next time for our little corner